Mike and Mike at night.
Our news, our business.
If you here at nighttime,
And you here at the right time. We doing the breakup tonight, y'all.
the breakup, baby. Y'all ready?
Hey, this guy right here, this guy's too much. I love this brother right here, but he's too much.
Man.
Too
Ditto.
much. I like him.
Y'all remember Ditto? Ditto.
I like him though. He's
Ditto.
alright. Because I was reading this, you know, while we're talking about the breakup. I was reading this article and they were saying that you could, if you had a co-host or something you weren't using, you could trade it in for a toaster. But fortunately, I had a toaster.
So your value was only equal to a toaster. That's what you're telling me. Your value is only equal to a toaster, man.
Hey man,
I ain't gonna trade you in.
Love, support, and protect, man. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in,
Yeah.
joining us today, and running with us on this Wednesday night.
Yeah, wilding out.
We've been getting a whole bunch of different. I've been talking to a lot of different people. I got stopped in the grocery store today, and they was like, "Hey, is the show on tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, that's cool," you know. So they said, "How often do you do this? You do this every night?" I said, "Well, we try to. We try to do it every night." Hey, what's up, Amber? How you doing?
Yeah.
We try to do it every night, but you know, sometimes we black people and we're adults as well, so we have other things going on. But for the most part, we try to bring you guys a decent show, and we try to do it on a more consistent basis. Tonight we're going to talk about something that we generally have had to deal with, and if we haven't yet, we probably will sometime in the future. I don't know anyone that hasn't gone through or had to deal with a breakup or a divorce. It's all in the part of growing up, and it's all in the part of the life experiences that you learn from, grow from, and are able to help other people out when you experience. So, is there something you want to throw in there, brother?
Yeah. So the question is, you tried everything to make it work. You followed the advice on the Mike and Mike show about merging kids together,
Red flags.
blended family, red flags, everything, and you came out, you realized this person just wasn't for you, and y'all realized y'all wasn't for each other. So now it's the breakup. But unfortunately, you got ties in this breakup.
Okay.
Now, if it wasn't, so before we get to those people who are tied together financially through marriage and everything like that, let's talk a little bit about folks who don't really have no ties to each other than the rent that they paying and a couple items that they bought.
So we're saying that's the difference between a quote unquote breakup and a divorce.
A divorce, yeah.
But we're gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna take a quick little break, and then hey, we're gonna turn up tonight. So you guys make sure you don't forget to tag and share it. If you eating, please do.
And if you tag and share, tell them to follow us so y'all get that ding every time we come on. Mike and Mike at night.
Our news, our business. Let's get busy. Mike and Mike at night.
Yes, sir.
Our news, our business. Let's talk about this breakup business. This is, you know what? I'm going to tell you, there's a few things in my life that I hate to do. One of them is help people move.
Absolutely.
And the other one,
I stopped when people move a decade, 2 decades
right.
ago.
One, I hate helping people move. Please don't ask me because I don't want to do it. Now I do it because I love you, but I don't want to help you move. But the other one is that breaking up. Breaking up is it's bad because that there are a lot of bonds and ties that you had, and when you leave that person, you tearing all of those, especially if it's not done, if it's a bitter breakup, you tearing down all those former relationships that you have built with people, maybe kids, whatever.
Yeah.
Their friends, the blended friends that you guys have on both ends,
Yeah.
and it just takes an enormous hit when you break up from somebody.
They say the emotions is equivalent to like
death.
someone passing.
Exactly, it is, because you don't see that person in the same way anymore, yet they're still there, which is kind of, like if somebody who had passed away was still around, but you just couldn't go see him. And that hurts. That really hurts.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into the questions today. We talk. He said it takes years to recover, and sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Depending on how much. If they were good people, let me tell you, my very first girlfriend I ever had, amazing person, still friends to this very day. But I think that has to do with a lot of while we talk about the emotional quotient, and it's not that we're communicating and conversing every day, but it's not like that, or that we interfere with each other's lives. But there's still a mutual respect there, even to this day, and I think that's awesome when a breakup can happen like that. But I think what we're exploring today more is the bitter breakup, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your first one on there?
Okay, so on a regular breakup, when it's not a legal breakup. You're breaking up. There's no marriage. There's no house that you purchased together. Anything like that.
Okay.
What you basically do is you wait till the lease is up, and then you get out.
But I mean, you got to divide the spoils.
Yeah.
Who bought this dresser? Well, your mama said that I could have that. So sometimes you do got a certain level of pettiness that comes in, but you have to be careful to make sure that you're doing it on an amicable term.
Yeah, but basically, when you leave that person, you got nothing else that's going to connect you to them, so you can get a clean break from that.
Okay.
So that's not what we're dealing. We're talking about now things that clean break. Now, you got some kids. So how do you notify the children that the parents are breaking up, divorcing, and not going to be together anymore? What do you do? How do you notify the kids, Terry?
Well, a lot of times they've already seen it coming. Because you know that when you're breaking up, you don't just wake up in the morning and it's over with.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the children probably have seen it coming. It's a certain process. If those children are connected to that person in a really deep sense, then I think it takes a little longer for that breakup to heal. And I've even seen men that are so stand up about who they are and what they're about and how they have served those children that they still try to maintain that relationship with the children, even though the relationship with their significant other has long since dissolved. I know a few people that have done that.
But I get that, and I'm talking more from a perspective of, say the couple those are both their kids. They're both their biological kids.
Okay, so you're talking about a divorce.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do they deal with it?
Yeah.
Well, we covered that in one of our previous shows where we said that if you do break up, then it should be at least, what did they say, 2 years before the children start seeing you with someone else?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. How do you sit the kids down and tell them mom and daddy ain't going to be together no more? That's what I mean.
Unless it's extremely amicable, like I said before, and that's kind of how I answered that question previously, is that they've already seen it coming.
Yeah.
When your mother and father that have been married for a certain amount of time are now about to part ways, that wasn't something that just snuck in overnight.
Yeah.
These kids have seen this coming for a while, and even if you do sit them down and tell them the reality of what it is, it's not even going to hit them until it actually happens. Now they know that something is coming, but if they don't have any experience with a divorce or anything like, they're not going to know what exactly that looks like and what that's going to be moving forward for the children. So I mean, yeah, you can. doing the service and sitting them down and letting them know. But I don't know. I don't know if that's something that depends on what type of relationship you have with that woman. If it's still kind of a bitter breakup, you can do it. I would say that it'd probably be easier if you guys did it separately as to you should probably do it separately as opposed to together. I don't think that's not a joint effort. Like, hey, we come together to tell you that we're not going to be together anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. And Avery, you had a question. Why do they have to part ways? Marriages for life. Well, you know, brother, we know as well. We know that, and we know that from our backgrounds of being Christians. But you know, they have a higher divorce rate in our community versus any other. I think we're like 55%, where it's at 50% in the secular world. So
well, we live on the planet Earth.
We're
all here together, and all y'all be breaking up. Secular, Christian, atheist.
Yeah, everybody be breaking up.
Knicks fans, Laker fans, Miami Heat fans, they all break up. Everybody break up. I ain't never seen no community stay together.
So yeah, everybody. I mean, that sounds good and it's nice and good, but it happens. And you know, you have to do it amicably, and you have to be able to sit the kids down, talk to them about it, let them know what's going on, and hopefully, if you are that, you will let the kids know, and you tell them that, you know, they're still going to be loved, and, you know, do it the right way.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You shouldn't have to tell your kids that they're going to be loved. Yeah. They should already know that. You know what, baby? I'm still going to love you, even though I hate your mother.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're going to.
But that's not what I mean. That there's enough of their love to go around. Because sometimes kids feel that tug of war between mom and dad.
Okay.
And some parents put them in that tug of war where they want to be loved more by the kid than the other thing. And the parents are the ones that draw that division because they're pulling the kid in both directions. And right. They're not allowing the kid to just love both parents even though they're separated. One parent wants more love. That's a low emotional culture that we're dealing with. Right. And the tug of war that they put the kids in.
Okay, so, and I get that as well. Dividing the spoils, if you're married, of course, the court has fashioned ways in which that can be done. Mm-hmm. However, when you're just shacking up or whatever, or you were just boyfriend and girlfriend, there's not really a whole lot that goes into making sure that people's things or belongings are split amicably.
Yeah, absolutely. My next question is custody. What's better, primary or joint custody? This is, again, you're married, you got the kids. What is better for the kids, primary or joint custody?
Well, I think
one parent getting primary, where they're with the kids like 70% of the time, the other parent gets them on the weekends, or joint custody where they split the kids 50-50. They get the time with the kids 50-50.
Well, that again is going to go into those two people's personal lifestyle. I don't know if there's necessarily a good way to handle that or a bad way, because, you know, depending on what those two people do for work, mm-hmm. Joint custody or equal time might not be, mm-hmm. you know, something that is reasonable or even feasible. Yeah. So, I mean, you can do joint custody, but you don't know, say, like if this person travels for work or if they do things, they're not going to be able to get that equal time with them. I mean, but if you can figure out that, because, you know, the court's going to look at the overnights, and that's a whole different show. But
yeah,
you know, some people say primary is better. Some people say that joint is better. I think, you know, when it comes to primary, so that the kids can be in a rhythm, so that they can be in a place that they can feel really familiar with, so they don't feel like they're being tugged back and forth, primary can be good. However, if you have two people who have comparable work schedules and can spend that equal amount of time with them, and they can feel just at home at one home as they do at the other, I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you go back and forth and the kids are going back, you share that equal time, there's a lot of things that come in play. You're going to have to get, you know, babysitting for the kids, pick up and drop off with school. There's a lot of things that go into play with that you're going to have to decide. and basically you being that single parent now, you're going to have to do that on your own or have your family members help to do, because you no longer got your significant other to do that for you.
Which is why I said that it has a lot to do, whether joint or primary has a lot to do with whether or not you all schedules are comparable or that you can work that out between the two of you.
Yeah. We get it, Avery. We get it, bro. But this is what the show is about today, the breakup. That's the title of the show, brother.
What else you got?
I got, how to manage relationships developed with ex-spouses or significant others, relatives. We kind of talked about this on another show, so this is more like we didn't. So you break up, you divorce, but you still got love for those significant others. You still got love for your mother-in-law, father-in-law.
And that's kind of what I opened up talking about. You know, that's why it hurts so much. It's not just that person so much, but it's the people that you two have collected.
So should you just walk away from all those folks and say, "Hey, I'm divorced from your daughter or your son. I can't."
Well, we talked about this on another show as well, and I think what we got to, the conclusion that we reached in that one was that opposite sex is fine, but opposite sex it can cause problems, but same sex generally is fine. So if there's a divorce and you have developed some relationships with someone on the other side, try to make sure they're of the same sex. Now, I know even that can be a problem in the sick and twisted world that we live in. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is this. If I've just divorced my wife and somebody tell me, and now she's my ex-wife, and somebody say, well, man, I seen your brother with your ex-wife the other day. That's just not a good look. Yeah. But if it's my sister, they were ex-sister-in-laws, whatever, ex-brother-in-laws, yeah, they probably will still, hang out with each other or talk to each other on an even playing ground. But, I just don't think, and I had this conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, well, what if that person knew them before you knew them? Yeah. Saying like they went to school together when they were kids. And
they're lifetime friends.
Right, and they've been lifetime friends. That's fine. If I'm saying, how you doing, how the kids been, and keep it moving at the grocery store. But I don't know if you should be over this person's house hanging out after your cousin or your brother or whoever then just divorced this woman. I don't think that's a good look. Personally, he said if they never switched, they wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we get it, Avery. But okay, so what about like the mother-in-law, the father-in-law?
Again, it depends on your ability to maintain those relationships, and it depends on how that breakup happened. Yeah. If it's a bitter breakup, chances are you're not going to be able to keep those relationships going. They're not going to want you around.
The side of their kids.
Exactly.
So. Exactly. I think you tread lightly and you find out what they're, because they could be just being nosy and seeing what's going on with you. Now going back and reporting everything to their child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I would like to throw this out there.
Okay.
How many breakups before it's your fault? How many times you gonna be divorced? How many times you gonna have an ex-boyfriend before you realize that there's one remaining issue that has existed in all of these relationships.
Yeah.
That
now there's different. There's different because a lot through the course of our lives, in your 20s and everything, like you're gonna go in and out of some relationships.
Right.
So then there got to be a maturity age when you get to a certain age, but you're still doing what you did in your 20s and having that break. Now here's the breakup: if you're breaking up with somebody every other year or every 6 months, then something's wrong because you lost in a relationship too quick and getting out of it.
Or if somebody's breaking up with you every 5 to 6 months, that's an issue. Okay, your kids should know 5 to 6 or 7 different individuals in the course of 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my boyfriend. Well, Mama, I thought the last guy was your boyfriend. Hey, he's out of here. No, we got a new one this time.
Yeah,
no, listen. Listen, you got when you start working on your fifth marriage,
Yeah.
those other people who you
Yeah.
start to think about it like, you know what, they weren't the problem. I am.
Or if you on your fourth or fifth relationship within a calendar year, then there's an
Right.
issue. There's something going on.
You need to start working on you.
Yeah, you need to really start working on you and step away from the whole dating game and trying to be in a
Right.
relationship with anybody.
Exactly.
Because there's something going on with you that you're bouncing and can't really. You're rushing into it too much. You're fool. They say fools fall, fools rush in. Something's going on.
Okay, so I've heard it said before. If there's 10 people telling you that you have a tail, you might want to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working on your fourth and fifth marriage, you might want to take a little closer look at yourself. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Did you have another one on there?
Yeah. So the next question is, and I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so why is it a bad idea to keep going back to that person you broke up and having sexual relations with them?
Okay, you talking about sleeping with someone after you guys have decided to end your relationship?
Yeah.
Well, if you're still sleeping with them, then you haven't broken up with them.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Now, if you are still sleeping with someone and you guys have ended a relationship, then what you have done now is just accepted that person cheating on you. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Because now you guys are still doing the same things basically that you were doing before, but both of you guys have a little bit more freedom. With the whole sex thing, I think that sex in and of itself kind of, how could I say, it helps you to lose focus. It can help you. It can break your focus.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that should really be taken into consideration when two people start dealing with each other. Now, I know people are going to have sex, and I'll probably get some kickback on this one, but you should be careful when you're entering into a sexual relationship with someone because, as Tika mentioned before, those are soul ties. Those run deep, and you don't just get over those emotional, as she said, those emotional ties, and they can get ugly. So you have to be careful with that.
And if you break up with somebody and you move and you're in separate homes, but then you're just coming back and you're still doing stuff with them, you're having sexual relations, that's a whole nother ball game, and that could lead to a whole lot of things. That could lead to jealousy of another person. Oh, you just slept with me and now you with this next person the other day. That could lead to a whole nother. That could lead to a Dateline episode.
Right.
You're on Dateline and ID. They're looking for your body somewhere.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's a horrible idea. If you're going to break up and leave someone, then you have to leave completely. But we know people have done it in the past. They get together, they hook up, and you know they're doing it on the side, and then they got somebody else in the mix, and you throwing all kind of fuel to the fire in the mix because that person that you got on the side, they may have low emotional quotient. You done mess with them. Now you got your ex in here, and they're going around, and that's just leading for all kind of chaos. And the kids are looking at that too.
Exactly, and like Avery was saying here, that it does slow the process of healing. However, I know how it is because the breakup, and that's kind of the next point that I wanted to get into is that sometimes breaking up, especially when you're not married, is a little bit more difficult. Usually when you get a divorce, that's pretty much final. It's over with. There's no more issues. Well, I'm not saying there's no more issues, but the lines have been set and clear. Okay? When you break up with someone, sometimes, and I know that a lot of you guys can understand what I'm saying when I say this, it's you guys have broken up and got back together and broken up and got back together and broken up again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sometimes a process that goes into that because you do get used to seeing that person or being around that person, and now you're like, man, let me just call her. Let me see how she's doing. Let me, and you kind of rethink what you're doing. But that also happens with people who have been married too.
Yeah.
You know, my friend that I always talk about, Mrs. Judith Shineland, she left her husband. They got a divorce, paperwork, final, everything. She's still married to him to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she left him for a while, and I guess sometimes two people figure out that they're so sorry that nobody else is going to want them, so they just come back. Come back to each
or
other.
they figure out, hey, we can resolve these issues.
Right.
And ain't nobody gonna put up, like you said, ain't nobody gonna put up with my crazy ass issues.
Right.
So we dealing with each other. And sometimes you feel like you know, there's people who break up and get back together and realize they work it out and learn from their mistakes.
Exactly. And sometimes you do need that time, and that's why the book even talks about for a season or coming apart for a season.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is good for people to heal and get over whatever the issues that they're having. Now, sometimes that healing process can bring you guys closer together, and now absence does actually make a heart grow fond. And sometimes that absence lets you know that, you know what, I'm doing a lot better now that person isn't bringing me down or dragging me down or being a negative influence in my life.
So that leads me to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Once you broke up, you know, you said it's like losing a loved one. It's like death. It's a hard emotion. Should you really go get counseling on that? Should people go for counseling?
You know, I'm going to say this because I hear this. This is a catchphrase in our society, especially within the black community, about this whole counseling thing.
Yeah.
That's like, counseling to me is like fried chicken and chocolate cake. Okay?
Okay, I don't know where you're going with that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you.
Tell me later.
Counseling with me is like fried chicken and chocolate cake. Is fried chicken and chocolate cake good? Yes. But it depends on who's making it.
Yeah.
Is counseling good? It can be.
Yeah.
But it depends on who you're being counseled by.
Absolutely.
So that is something that you want to take in consideration first.
Yeah.
If a budget is an issue, then you probably shouldn't get into no counseling.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like we just got this old guy here because he's the one that the insurance said that we could afford. You know, if money's an issue, I don't know about that type of counseling. Because I can tell you something. I have seen counseling tear people's lives apart.
Yeah.
Because people are mishandling the emotions, the marriage. When I was on the cusp of ending my relationship and we were trying to make ours work, we got some quote unquote Christian counseling.
Mm-hmm.
This joker was late for the meetings, didn't want to listen to nobody. Okay? Yeah. So I don't say, and you know what, we ended up, still getting a divorce, but we ended up hashing some of those issues that we had between us outside of counseling.
Yeah. They
didn't even help any of those issues.
Yeah.
You guys know each other better than anybody else on the outside will. So when they're giving you advice, they're giving you advice based on what they have seen work in the past. Yeah. They're not giving you advice based on you two because they know you two.
And it all depends on the counselor's beliefs and the method that they're using to counsel you. Some counseling is used to just let you be able to cope and deal with what's going on. There's other counseling that you have that actually deals with healing you, healing your soul, healing your spirit, healing your mind so you can move forward with it. So it all depends on the counseling that you get. And there's horrible counselors in the church. There's horrible counselors and that
there's horrible counselors everywhere. So
and you might have to filter through and go through a couple counselors to get someone that really fits you and understands where you're coming from and understands what you want. So you got to kind of lace out and figure out what do you want to get from that counseling session, what do you want to happen, because if you just go in there and think this person's going to give you a miracle, you may walk out even worse than you were when you entered.
She said her counselor got turned on by her story.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? You see, this is exactly what I'm getting at. So this is what I'm saying. What is so bad, or what needs to be worked out so deeply that you guys can't do that on your own?
Well,
come on. We're two people. We love each other. We care about each other, and we have equal goals and ideas when it comes to our relationship. Why is it that we need somebody else to co-sign on that?
Well, I think it comes to like your imprint. If you were raised a certain way if you were raised not to deal with emotion, if you were raised in a chaotic home and you were raised a victim, molestation, things of that nature that happen.
Things of that nature.
Yeah, you got me. God, I do say it. things that happen like that.
Okay.
Then you really need to get help on that, because it's a hindrance that you may not even know about. Because,
I get that. I get that. This is what I'm saying. Like she said, I believe in self-practitioner. This is what I'm saying. If you know that these things are there, then you can address these things.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You can develop and figure different ways out to address these things. Let me tell you this. I have been to sub-counseling. There are counselors that I talk to in the church and outside of the church that I thought they were pretty cool people. Yeah. They was all right. Now, did they hit everything spot on? No, not necessarily. Did they really know how to address my issues? No, not really. But they were cool people to talk to, so I continued to go. But what I'm saying is this, is that if you know that you have these issues, then you can start developing tools and looking for resources outside of another person who has maybe even more severe issues than you do to help you look.
So you mentioned something that's key, and I like that you said that. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned tools. So that's what it basically is, because there's so many tools out there, so many different books that you can read, so many things that give you tools on how to handle conflict resolution.
Right.
The How We Love book, learn your love style and learn what imprints that you have, and really deal with yourself and do a deep dive on yourself and really deal with what's going on.
And like she said, address it and quit sugarcoating and dressing stuff up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you need to do. You got to be real with yourself. Look, babe, this is what I'm going through. Look, mama, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We're going to get through this together. I don't need someone to sit up and tell me that why she acts the way she acts or why I act the way that I act, because you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know us. You're not going to tell me that you're going to get the full expanse or the full spectrum of who two people are in a 1-hour session.
No.
That ain't going to happen. And I wouldn't care. Hold on. I wouldn't care how many sessions it was. You going to tell me that 1 hour a week or on a Tuesday evening is going to tell you what you need? I got Negroes that I done known for 35 years and I still can't spend countless hours with them and I still don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So, no. You have to, like you said before, you have to spend some time with yourself and see what
because that's what real counseling is, you discovering for yourself, because you know who you really are. So that's one thing. If you're going to a counselor and the counselor is trying to give you suggestions and basically tell you what you should do with your life, that's somebody you should steer away from, because they're not really there for your healing. They're just there to make a paycheck. Because I think any counselor is going to have you explore within yourself and have you come up with what's going on with you, because they don't know you well enough.
Hey,
and
I got a secret for you, man. They all there for a paycheck.
Yeah. Well, not all of them.
Yeah. Well, you tell them you ain't paying them. Let's see how many sessions you get after that.
Hey, man, I've gone and I've gotten free counseling sessions, and through our
well, you get what you pay for. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty damn
okay, all right, man.
good.
Let me leave you alone.
It's been pretty damn good.
Okay.
But you always got to go advocate. So that's what your job is.
Well, anyway, hey, man. We didn't beat a dead horse tonight with this whole breakup thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you guys, Brother Avery, he had a good point. You know, if you can, do whatever you can, especially if you're married, to keep that marriage going. You know, I always say this. There's two relationships that you shouldn't have left. The first one you were in and the one that you're in now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? There's two that you shouldn't left. The first one you're in and the one that you're in now. And let me say this. For some people, those two people are the same people. But for most of us, they're not. The first person we were with, we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But the person that we're with right now, stick with them.
Yeah.
Because it don't get no better from here. All you're going to do is just keep starting over and over and over again with different people. And that just causes confusion for yourself and your family.
Yeah. Love the one you with. Stay with the one you with. Work it out. Stop being all about yourself. Have self-awareness of the idiot that you can be at times,
Right.
or the jerk that you can be at times. Know who you are, and so you're not putting that all on your significant other. And if they know who they are, and you both come at each other with love, then you'll be all right. Except for trying to make them be who you want them to be. They ain't gonna be who you want them to be. They ain't gonna do it. So
there you go. So don't make me over.
Yeah.
Now that you know I'll do anything for you.
Yeah, don't make me over.
Hey, now we know the show is over, right? This guy's back to singing. Hey, you guys have a good one. Mike and Night, our news, our business. You were here at nighttime, so you were here at the right time. We appreciate you guys. Love, support, and protect each other. You guys be careful out there, and we'll get back with you tomorrow. Have a good one.
I'm on my way home, Miss Tika White. Love you, baby.
Reminds me of ocean, so I never know one. I'm going by a cold one, it's only a small one compared to the coast. I prefer it to most. I like water, but don't burn my eyes when they open. I won't let you criticize my pretty like my skin. It's so pretty. If you don't like it, just leave it alone. You gotta love me like I love the legs. You wanna love me better, love